A very good morning to you. This is the Morning Bugle on NCBN, coming to you live from the beautiful city of Abuja. My name is Dorothy Beninga, and of course, I am not here alone. I am here with my co-presenter, Gabriel. Good morning, Gabriel.
Good morning, Dorothy.
How are you doing today?
I'm very well, I'm good.
How is the excitement of the weekend?
Oh, the weekend. Well, it's a bit of excitement because for me, I really don't see anything very special about the weekend. The only difference is there's less of official work. We still have more work to do. So
exactly.
For me, it doesn't really make much of difference for me.
So you are not part of the association of TGIF?
I've only said so. I've only said so. But I congratulate those who enjoy the TGIF thing, right? I hope one day I could fit into that shoe and do it the way they do. But for me,
well, I am somebody that always looks forward to the weekend. Yeah. Not that I have special plans, but the fact that I can sleep extra.
Okay, I know wake up as early as you do during the weekdays.
Exactly.
Well, that's something to celebrate, though. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But also, you talked about Abuja being a very beautiful city, and that caught my attention. And that is why I'm using this medium to call on everyone who is watching us right now from across the world. I tell you, pay a visit to the beautiful city of Abuja, and you won't regret it.
It's really beautiful.
There's a whole lot to explore here. Very serene environment, very calm. I don't want to mention names, but unlike what we have in some parts of the country, you know, very noisy environment here. Anywhere you want, whatever you want, you can get it very easy here in Abuja.
The streets are clean, the beauty, the trees, evergreen. It's just beautiful. Anytime I'm coming to work, I just love to enjoy the scene before I get to the office.
Right? Yeah. That's very true.
Yes, so this is the show where we take you through the latest happenings in the country and in the world as a whole. But before we go into our first story for the day, we would like to go on a short break. Do not go away.
Thank you so much for staying tuned to the Morning Bugle on NCBN. And just like Dorothy did mention, it's time for us to take you through the big stories of the day and take a look at what Nigeria is saying right now. Our first story on the program this morning has to do with food crisis in Nigeria. There is no doubt that at the moment, there's a lot of food shortage, and government is trying to block the loopholes by way of stopping exportation of food through the land borders. And, you know, all sort of policies and pronouncements are coming in to make sure that at the moment Nigerians have enough to eat. But there's an advice coming from one of Nigeria's very key stakeholders, and that is exactly what we'll be looking at this morning on our first story on the show this morning. The story says food crisis, prioritize investment in agriculture, U.S. urges Nigerians. Of course, we know that the U.S. is one of Nigeria's very key allies globally.
Yeah.
So the story says the United States has urged the federal government to prioritize investment in agriculture to tackle the prevailing food crisis and hunger promoted in the country. The U.S. Charge d'Affaires in Nigeria, David Green, said that leveraging on abundant agricultural potentials remains a crucial way to bolster food security and fast-track Nigeria's socio-economic development, including the creation of job opportunities. Green, who spoke at Ipaoe Ekiti in Ikole Council area of Ekiti State during a visit by the U.S. Embassy to the 15,000 hectares Agbeyewa Farms, a private initiative of Kavista Holdings, urged Nigeria to harness its abundant arable lands, fertile soil, and favorable weather endowments to provide food for the citizenry and as well export. So that is one very good advice coming from the U.S. Charge d'Affaires, talking about Mr. David Green.
Yeah, so I know this is a very beautiful advice because coming to see the situation in Nigeria at the moment, a lot of people are hungry. The the prices of food just keeps getting expensive. Worst of all, food that is being imported, it just keeps getting expensive. But I would like to look at it on this side. I think one of the investments that the federal government should do concerning this is also provision of security. Because if we see, like last year, a lot of farms were destroyed from the cases of insecurity. Even people that had food, you know, stored up in barns,
in their
homes, it was destroyed. It would have even been a different case if the people that had come fetched it, you know, instead of just destroying it. Exactly, but the farmlands, people went to the farm, you know, people planted, and then enemies came in and destroyed the farms and all. So I feel that another thing that the federal government should prioritize is not just having these establishments, but also providing security, because it's important. We can't start something that cannot be sustained.
That is true. I love the word food security, all right? And that means security is very key when you want to have food security.
Yeah.
And that is why I like the angle you took that story from, which means that for us to ensure food security in Nigeria, we must be able to provide physical security.
Yes.
In the North Central, for instance, we've had these farmers' headers clashes, and that to a long extent has also contributed to what we are experiencing in Nigeria at the moment. Thank God, to a very large extent, it's been reduced, right?
Yeah.
But we still have pocket of attacks in villages, in communities, where, just like you mentioned, the attackers come not just attacking the people and destroying their houses, but attack their source of food.
Exactly.
The farms are destroyed, the food banks in the communities are destroyed. So that tells you that definitely we are going to be experiencing food crisis like we're witnessing right now.
Yeah.
But the good news is the fact that the federal government is taking some very key steps. All right. Already we had the presidential, committee, which is headed by the SGF and also the chief of staff of the president, and also the national security advisor. We had that committee announce that the government plans to, which I believe to an extent they're already doing that, to open up food stores, that's federal reserves across the country, so that food can be pushed into the market, which in the long run will drive down the cost of commodities in the market. We've seen that happening. Also, as part of the initiative is the Nigeria Customs Service, distributing food items to vulnerable Nigerians.
Yes.
I'm using the word vulnerable very carefully now, because if you're a millionaire, don't go to any custom warehouse to say you want to collect rice or whatever it is they are sharing. But also the fact that those food items are not absolutely free. A few days ago on one of our radio programs, we had the national PRO of the customs speak on that issue, and he said it's not absolutely free. If, say, a bag of rice is 70,000 naira, if you go to the custom warehouse as a vulnerable Nigerian through an organized group, it means you can get it for as low as 10,000. This is me giving a price peg now. Yeah. That is not the actual price, but just to tell you how low you can get it. So all these are initiatives put in place by government to see that Nigerians do not suffer food scarcity. But this advice coming from the US is very key. We must prioritize food security. We must make sure that agriculture is given the priority it requires, beyond crude oil, beyond gold, beyond iron ore, beyond coal and the rest of that. Agriculture is what Africa is known for. Yeah. It is what Nigeria is known for. Back in the days, we had the granite pyramids in Kano. What happened to them? Well, can we bring back those glorious days?
I'm telling you, the food basket of the nation.
Yeah, Benue State. Yeah. You go there and you see, I don't know if it's still the same story, but there were days when you go to Benue State and you are told that a very big tuber of yam is 200 naira. And you're like, it's more like you're stealing it because of how cheap it is. I don't know if that is the situation right now in that state anyway. Yeah,
so I think this is a very good move, because that's to show you that people actually have Nigerians at heart. Yeah. We're seeing the situation that the people are in, and it's really a good move to try to bring solutions to this situation. I hope the federal government will really look into it, because as of last year, when all these attacks were going on, people were actually crying already that there is going to be hunger in this year, and that is what we are experiencing. What we have worked hard for, what we have sown, it has been destroyed.
Time and money.
Exactly.
Energy and resources.
Money, it has been destroyed. So I think it's a very good move, and I hope the federal government will actually take this into consideration, understanding that the whole farm, it's an entire process. It is. It's not just one aspect of it, but every aspect of it, they have to look into it, so that it will not be what's that word? It will not be a project that was started and was not sustained.
Not sustained. Yeah. And also talking about how we can improve the agricultural sector in Nigeria, if you take a look at the cost of running the farm right now, gone are the days when we used to think that farming is a cheap business. It is not.
How much is fertilizer?
Go and price a bag of fertilizer, and you know that farmers are actually investing a whole lot in their farms. Sure. Hence the kind of the charges they make when selling the same products. So we can see how, if possible, the government can subsidize fertilizer. There was a time they were doing that, and it was quite low. The cost was quite low. They can bring that back by way of encouraging farmers. Also, other chemicals and the things needed for enhanced farming, mechanized farming, can be encouraged by government. How can they see that, okay, in every local government, there are enough tractors that can be rented by the people at very cheap rates to encourage, commercial farming? Because if we are talking of feeding the nation, we are not talking of the, is it the persistent farmer or the low-income farmer that, just plants or has less than 1 hectare of land where he plants yam, cassava, and the rest of that. We need very large farmlands that can that can be cultivated to provide enough food for all Nigerians across board. And this cannot be done by subsistent farmers.
This is also, sorry to cut you short, this is also an opportunity for creation of job. Opportunities for people, because these large farmlands would need good manpower.
Of course, good manpower.
So people will be employed, this case of unemployment and all of that, people will be able to work on these farms, creating job opportunities and also helping the nation as a whole. Yeah,
also just before we round up this segment, I remember that, over and over again, NIMET, that is the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, has warned that, when the rain comes, the possibility of having floods and those floods washing away farmlands is very high. And now we are seeing that the rains are coming really fast. Just a few days ago, we saw the first rain in Abuja here. And, the warnings are already there. So as a farmer or as residents, let's do the best we can to clear the drainages, make sure that there's free flow of water so that the little we are able to achieve in our farms is not washed away by flood.
Exactly, we can sustain it.
So just take this free advice from all of us, because it will help all of us. It will help us to attain food security. It will help us to have enough food, going around in Nigeria. And then the issue of hunger will be conquered to a very large extent. And we'll see how the price of commodities that is skyrocketing on daily basis can be brought down drastically. Okay, that's the much you can take on this story. You stay on to the Morning Big on NCBN. We go on a quick break. We'll be back with more on the show. Please do not go away.
Did you know Cocoa House in the city of Ibadan, Oyo State, Nigeria was completed in 1965 at a height of 105 meters and was also once the tallest building in tropical Africa. It was built from proceeds from commodities like cocoa, rubber, timber, and so on.
You're welcome back to the show. This is still the Morning BUGLE on NCBN. We'll go straight into our next story. It says that Senate rejects planned increase in electricity tariff. Wow. So with all that is going on at the moment, electricity is now something that people should worry about now.
Yeah, of course, it should. But maybe when we finish going through the story, I will say what I want to say, because I have a lot on my chest regarding the story right now.
Okay, so let me go through the story. It says the Senate has kicked against the plans by the Ministry of Power to increase electricity tariff. The Senate also rejected plans to remove subsidy from electricity given the present hardship in the country. Well, that's a good one, at least.
Yeah, it is.
They are seeing the situation in the country.
It is.
The resolution of the Senate followed its consideration and approval of a motion moved by Senator Aminu Abbas during plenary on the need to retain subsidy on electricity in the country for the foreseeable future. Last week, the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, disclosed at a press conference in Abuja that Nigeria was not likely to sustain the current electricity subsidy. He explained that the indebtedness of the country's power sector to electricity generating companies and gas companies has risen to over 3 trillion naira.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot.
It's a lot, really. It's a lot.
He said today, and I quote, "Today we owe a total of 1.3 trillion naira to the power generating companies, out of which 60% is owed to gas suppliers. Today we have a legacy debt before 2014 to the gas companies of $1.3 billion. At today's rate, that is close to 2 trillion naira.
Wow, quite a huge debt there coming from government and the companies in the power sector.
Yeah, so one would ask, this debt, when are we coming out of it?
Well, if you ask me, who will I ask? How will I have the answer? But the truth is, whether we like it or not, this debt will continue. We can only minimize them. But hey, let's go back to even the root of this issue. Increase in electricity tariff, or even removal of subsidy on electricity tariff. Until recently, most Nigerians didn't even know that there is subsidy on electricity. Until one of our key allies and international partner, the IMF, came up in Nigeria to say, you know what, government, it's time for you to consider removal of fuel subsidy of, which is removed already, and electricity tariff. And that was when this debate came up. When the IMF gave that advice, just about 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, the Minister of Power, which you just quoted, Adelabo, came up and said, you know what, it is almost impossible for Nigerians or for Nigeria to sustain subsidy on electricity. And I asked myself, where is this coming from? We've had this over the years. Why did the IMF have to come up at this point and draw the attention of our government to the fact that we are paying subsidy on electricity? So the IMF may have a very good position given that advice. But at the moment, Nigerians are already grappling with a lot.
Yeah. We
just finished talking about hyperinflation in terms of food items, the cost of living, and the rest of them. So saying the government should remove subsidy on electricity at the moment, for me, is highly insensitive as far as I'm concerned. And I think the minister should actually reconsider that stand.
Yeah, I feel the Senate, I think that's the angle that they are coming from, considering the hardship that is already going on in the country. This would be like loading in more, burden on the people at the moment. And you would ask yourself, how much electricity are we even enjoying
that is true. Okay, now you also ask yourself, if we are enjoying less hours of power supply per day, and already the debt of the nation in terms of electricity tariff is this high, then what will happen when we have constant power supply? We've heard over time that Nigeria enjoys one of the cheapest rates in terms of charges in electricity across in Africa and some parts of the world. No doubt about that. But also, if we can have improvement in the power sector, in the hours of power supply per day, that will also go a long way. But this debt, how do Nigerians pay it? How will Nigeria pay it? 3 trillion naira is no small money.
It's no small
but it is a sacrifice the government can pay for the people. That is why we are Nigerians. There is no country in the world that one item or the other is not subsidized. It may not be everything. Before now, we're enjoying fuel subsidy, we enjoy electricity subsidy, but right now, fuel subsidy is gone. Can we at least enjoy this one for a while?
Exactly, and focus on the other, the other parts, the subsidy. It's like putting a whole burden on the people at the moment, and that's what the Senate spokesman said. He said the hike would only put Nigerians war on Nigerians. It's just adding so much pain
to Nigerians at the same time.
to Nigerians at the moment.
So at this juncture, you see, that is why as media practitioners and as journalists, we should always be objective, right? When a person or a group has done well, you commend them. Where you need to condemn or even where you need to condemn, you do so. In this instance, the Senate has done really well, and they are the representatives of the people. We elected them to represent us in the chambers. So speaking on behalf of Nigerians is one of the things they need to do, which is what they've done. So I just hope that the government will heed the call of the Senate to halt any plan of removing subsidy on electricity, because it will cost Nigerians and Nigeria a whole lot at the moment.
Exactly. Nigerians are going through a lot.
Yes, we are. No doubt about that.
I am Nigerians.
Yeah, we are Nigerians. We are Nigerians.
Speaking on behalf of the Nigerians, we are actually going through a lot at the moment. We understand that these things there might be something good that will come out of it, because we would not say that we will not go out outrightly and just condemn the entire process.
Of course, not at
but
all.
one thing at a time. Let's focus on one thing.
So let's also hope that the power generation companies, the distribution companies, all those across the value chain, they will, up to their game and see how Nigeria and Nigerians can enjoy more hours of power supply. I remember during the AFCON tournament, the back and forth between Nigeria and Ghana, where they were taunting us was on power supply. In fact, some were posting on Twitter to say, I'm sure Nigerians do not have power to watch the match at the moment.
Exactly.
Forgetting to have generators we don't have if we don't have the national grid. So can we see an improvement in power supply? If that happens, I'm sure you and I wouldn't mind if there's a hike in tariff.
There's a hike, yes.
All right, but we cannot be paying for darkness.
True.
We cannot be paying for that or paying more for darkness.
And it's like these days, it just keeps getting worse. It's like there's a rationing that is going on.
And to think,
one day there's lights, 2 days
yeah,
no light.
and to think that at the moment the weather has become extremely hot, and you need the power to power your AC, your fans to be a bit comfortable. So we need improvement in the sector,
so that
really.
Mr. Gabriel will not complain that he didn't sleep well at night. Because there was
I'm sure I won't complain anymore, because I believe those concerned are watching and they are going to do the needful and see how we can enjoy more power supply in Nigeria. That is the ultimate.
Exactly. Yes, and that is what we have for you on this particular story. We'll now go to the Commerce Council, where you'll be given advice on how to manage your resources, manage yourself financially as a Nigerian. Please do not go away. We'll be back for the rest of the show.
"2021 came in with a pandemic and seems to be leaving in the same oh my gosh, not again way. Regardless of COVID's mercurial ways, one constant is focusing on intelligent financial tips so that your retirement ahead is secure in wealth, health, and happiness. So, to start the new year off with healthy financial planning, here are top 7 financial tips for how to step forth with a good financial audit in 2022. Invest fully in your retirement savings. The number 1 tip for financial planning is to max out your retirement savings. If you aren't already fully leveraging your retirement savings, then at least increase your contribution by 1%. Once you see that a slight uptake in your contribution does not make a difference in your day-to-day living, you will most likely feel more confident in moving towards adding more to your savings over time. Review your allocations in your investments. The beginning of the year is a good time to audit your investments. Review how you allocate your money by determining if the amount invested meets your risk assessment. If you experience unexpected financial expenditures, adjust your investment contributions to align with your real needs and future goals. Invest fully in your health savings account. HSA stands for Health Savings Account. This is a tax-advantaged account that you can use for qualified medical expenses, assuming your family is covered by your high-deductible plan. So leverage these pre-tax savings by maxing out this savings account. Consider upcoming expenses and plan accordingly. Planning is the best way to proceed when it comes to smart financing. Look ahead to determine what expenses are coming up in 2022 and create a plan. Things to consider are house projects, children's activities, vacations, and donations to charity. Have a sense of the costs for each expense and allocate funds in advance so you know how to invest the remainder of your possible savings. Plan on taking time off. Healthy living begins with the investment in your emotional well-being. To be successful at work, make sure you plan vacation time, even if it means time off at home enjoying a hobby. This much-needed time allows you to prioritize what is important in your life and how you will invest in these areas. These vacations are essential to your happiness, and planning forces you to take the time for yourself. Examine your purpose in life. Start the year by reviewing your personal, financial, and professional goals. An excellent way to do this exercise is to start with the 10-year benchmark. Think about what you seek to accomplish and where you want to be in 10 years. The next consideration is what progress you need to make in 3 years to be on target for your 10-year objectives. Think about factors at work and home. Review security needs. Being hacked is a real-life issue, so having a security plan is essential to your financial well-being. So, do a security audit before you are hacked or have information stolen. Some necessary items to help protect your financial and personal information include a home shredder, password management systems like LastPass or Dropbox, and an all-time favorite security program is LifeLock and Monitor. Is LifeLock that monitors your financial activity along with that of your children and other family members.
I hope you've learned a thing or two from today's Commerce Council. meant to help you take informed decisions regarding your finances and your businesses as well. Well, on that note, we've come to the end of the Morning BUGLE this morning. I want to say a very big thank you for investing your time with us. My name is Gabriel Onu.
And I am Dorothy Beninga. Thank you so much for staying with us through the show. Do join us again.